Those who try to prove the existence of God in the gaps of science have never understood the basic meaning of faith. Unfortunately, all they do is further the doubts of those that are genuinely seeking. They do this only because they want to win the argument for the team they feel they belong to. Though I am a science-loving man, I always say that science should not be used as the arbiter to settle the dispute of God. Here is my humble opinion. Science can thoroughly explain how you smile, the number of muscles it takes to do so, what part of the body issues the command, and how things play together in a beautiful symphony inside your body to produce a simple smile. Science, however, cannot tell you as to why you smile to begin with. Think about it. If science could actually settle the dispute of God, then would it be fair to all those that came before and had no access to technology? Would it also be fair to us when, in the future, science explains most of the how questions in some Type 3 civilization? No, I don't find God in the how questions. I find Him in the why. Why are we kind to the weak among us instead of simply acting on instinct or self-interest? Why is an ordinary life no longer appealing to us once we reach it? Is there a calling inside of us to do more? Why do we strive for achievement that may not have immediate benefits, but would pay off after we are gone? Why do people sacrifice their own well-being for the sake of others, sometimes even strangers? Why do we create art and music, forms of expression that have no obvious utility for survival? Understand that doubt is not evil, it is the foundation of faith. That is why I do not believe in the God of gaps. I believe in the God of wisdom that allows doubt to exist so we can reach certainty if we are willing to put in the effort and search, and won't find the answer if we are simply here for the argument. God could easily show proof of His existence, but He understands that only through doubt can we ever reach certainty. And so He intentionally left proof of His existence up for debate, ensuring that we only find Him when we genuinely search for the answer. I believe that we do our best to seek the answer to the God question because a part of us is unsettled until we find that answer. For example, maybe the reason the rate of people ending their own lives is so much higher in non-religious countries because this question is disturbing their inner peace. It bothers us when we don't find God's presence. Our disbelief in anything else doesn't play as big a role in our inner peace. Yet, when we find no proof of God, we feel uneasy, and so we search. We don't do it to win an argument, we do it to put our thoughts at peace. When we argue against God, we get emotional and go to extreme lengths to voice our opinions. We do it that way first and foremost to convince ourselves. I want to end with this note. Remember, this video is not to prove the existence of God, but to help spark your curiosity about faith. After all, faith is a path we must walk alone. Others can only ever show the way.